What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some insane battles in the Open Great League running a level 50 purified Pidgeotto. Now previously, Pidgeotto's only good charge move was Aerial Ace until its shadow got released with the most recent Team Rocket event, and now it learns Stab Return, which hits like an absolute truck. I'm also running Fearow since I built this Pokemon last season but never actually made a video running it, and also Surfetched in the lead to round out an unintentional triple bird team. With that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What do you think is the best normal type Pokemon to run in its purified form, specifically for Stab Return? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so heading into the first battle, Surfetched into Mantine, not a great lead, so I'm going to say swap into my Fearow, but this also isn't ideal because they are resisting the Steel Wing damage. Aerial Ace also not going to hit particularly hard either, but we do outpace them to an Aerial Ace before they make it to a potential Ice Beam. The opponent is going to overfarm quite considerably here, and then they bait with an Aerial Ace, which isn't ideal, but I am able to make it to a second Aerial Ace, throwing on the CMP tie, and Aerial Ace is going to be no shielded once again. Now at this point, I can't really afford to double shield, so I let the Ice Beam take out the Fearow, but I've put them into counter farm down range. Now I'm going to come in with the Surfetched, hoping that they don't have anything else that can very easily beat the Surfetched, but unfortunately they've also got a Shadow Gligar in the back, so running ABA double flyers, but of course not showing any of the same weaknesses. With Mantine and Gligar, we swap into Pidgeotto, and the opponent instantly comes in with Annihilate, and this actually is pretty good for us, but they do comfortably live an Aerial Ace. Now at this point I've just got to hope they're not running Ice Punch. The opponent goes for Night Slash, and I'm able to get the Wing Attack farm down. Now at this point my only real win condition is shielding this up and then hoping for whatever reason the opponent does not respect the damage coming from the Pidgeotto, so we full send the return nearly one-shots the Shadow Gligar. I'm able to Wing Attack, farm them down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see Azumarill in the lead. This isn't too bad for us. We will lose the 0 shield scenario, but I think we win the 1 shield and the 2 shield scenario. So we go straight for a Leaf Blade, throwing just before they make it to an Ice Beam, throwing after 7 counters. We're definitely going to be shielding this up as the opponent goes for a Play Rough, and now we can massively overfarm. I'm actually going to make it to over 2 Leaf Blades before I throw my charge move here. Let's see, does the opponent want to shield? They are going to shield, and we're able to throw another Leaf Blade, throwing on CMP, winning CMP, and the opponent double shields their Azu. Now at this point I'm thinking maybe if I save my shield, we come in with the Fearow, whatever is weak to the Surfetched probably doesn't want to tank a Drill Run from a Fearow either, and it turns out it's a Galarian Stunfisk, so saving that shield is going to be very nice as we can go straight for the Drill Run. Drill Run does big damage to the Galarian Stunfisk. I will actually live a Rock Slide here, so I'm going to no shield. Rock Slide does big damage though, but then they swap into Trevenant and this is game over. I play it safe, I bank a charge move before swapping out, we swap into Pidgeotto. Shadow Ball does very little damage, we completely wall them, so the opponent just concedes the match there. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see Gligar in the lead, so once again not ideal, not as bad as the Mantine because they don't have Ice Beam and they're not resisting the fast move damage, but either way this is still a losing matchup for the Fearow. But anyways, they go for an Aerial Ace that does a lot of damage, and then they swap into Skarmory, which isn't ideal. I'm actually only going to make it to back-to-back Aerial Aces here, as if I went for a Drill Run we would not get off a second charge move, so we go for the Aerial Aces. You're going to see they don't do too much damage, but we have actually put them into the yellow health range with only resisted damage, which isn't too bad. Now here I'm hoping we put them into range where we can just fully counter farm them down, so I'm going to shield the first move here. They go for Sky Attack. Can we get the counter farm down? No, we're not able to do so, so unfortunately I'm going to have to double shield my Surfetched here, and that's why I think the Gligar does have a little bit of residual energy. We're going to go for a Leaf Blade here, and then I think I'm going to try and overfarm, try and make a catch, but I'm not able to do either there. Should have just thrown the Leaf Blade straight away. Aerial Ace will be taking out the Surfetched, and once again they've got Annihilate in the back, so even if we did throw that Leaf Blade straight away, I think they're just slightly too healthy, got too many shields for me to deal with once again, unless once again the opponent just no shields a return. But either way, we're going to no shield that. They can counter, farm me all the way down, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, great lead for us leading into Bastiodon. They say swap into Wigglytuff, and this is a big mistake. I was thinking with Steel Wing this should be a very positive matchup for us, but no, we're not a Steel type Pokemon, so these Charms are still dealing more damage than the Steel Wings are dealing to the Wigglytuff, but they do make a mistake going for an Icy Wind there. I don't think I would have made it to an Aerial Ace without that charge move being thrown, so that's fine with me. That does allow me to grab both shields from the opponent, and we also put them into farm down range for my Pidgeotto Pidgeotto before they even make it to an icy win. So at this point, I'm hoping it is going to be a Razor Leaf Shadow Victory Belt in the back because, of course, we do have that Brave Bird coverage on my Surfetched. So we're going to swap straight away into the Surfetched, but it's actually a Tropius. And now at this point, I'm not actually confident if a Brave Bird will get the one-shot, but it does get the one-shot. And now, unfortunately, we have triple debuffed our defense. I do at least make it to a Leaf Blade here. Leaf Blade, not going to do too much damage. We get off one more counter, but it's all going to be up to Pidgeotto. We've only got double resisted moves to throw here, so I'm definitely going to shield out the Stone Edge, go for one wing attack, and I'm hoping that a double resisted return will be enough damage to take out the Bastiodon, and it does get the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there. Into the next game, we see Shadow Dragonite in the lead, so not ideal. Gonna say swap into the Fearow and immediately met with Lantern. Now, of course, we do have Drill Run for coverage, but Steel Wing is double resisted and non-stab, so we're gonna have to make it to 2 Drill Runs to get the KO up against the Lantern, which is unfortunate, but the opponent goes for the full farm down, which probably isn't that good for us. We will get a shield advantage, but they get a huge farm down. They're gonna come out with basically 100 energy and instantly grab that shield back. Now, I'm gonna come in with the Surfetched. I think their play is probably just going straight Thunderbolt, but they actually bait with a Surf, which isn't ideal. At this point, I can't afford to double shield, but they go for Surf once again. They're only making it to one more Surf, so that's fine with me. We are, unfortunately, I'm not sure if we would have made it to the Brave Bird there, so I actually just settle for a Leaf Blade, still grabbing the shield anyways, and we swap into our Pidgeotto. I'm definitely going to shield this up here, and hopefully Pidgeotto can beat whatever's in the back, but it turns out to be a Greedent. Now, we will make it to a Return, but Greedent is very bulky. Return doesn't quite do enough damage there to get the KO, and as well, I'm still going to need to throw an Aerial Ace here. The opponent goes for Crunch for whatever reason, but they're still going to make it to a Body Slam. If I threw straight away, I don't think we've got enough HP to make it to a Charge Move up against a Dragonite, but we do get the counter farm down, but unfortunately Leaf Blade is going to be double resisted up against the Dragonite. It's nowhere near enough damage to get the KO, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Vigoroth in the lead, so great lead for us. They're going to say swap into Shadow Gligar. We don't have a great response, so going to chip with a Leaf Blade first, and Leaf Blade actually grabs a shield there. So now we're going to swap into Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto is just slightly bulkier than the Fearow. I mean, they have pretty similar stat product in all honesty, but of course, Pidgeotto only getting to 1340 something, 1340 exactly actually. Yeah, it's not going to have the highest attack ever, but we go for the Return. Return will be enough damage to get the KO, and we will at least make it to an Aerial Ace here. If the opponent has been counting, they can just safely no shield, and you can see Aerial Ace really does not do much damage at all from a Pidgeotto, which isn't great for us, but we're going to come back in with the Surfetched. I'm definitely just going to shield this up. I don't know what the third Pokemon is, but let's see. They go for a Body Slam, they swap into Trevenant, and I make a mistake here. I should have banked a Leaf Blade before swapping out, because Fearow completely walls the Trevenant. You're going to see Shadow Ball doesn't even do half our health there, although the Shadow Claw damage is getting us fairly low. We can now go for an Aerial Ace, and Aerial Ace will be enough damage to get the KO. They let it go through there. Honestly, probably should have undercharged that slightly more, because now this Vigoroth might be able to fully counter farm me down. It's going to be super close here, but we are just barely able to make it to another Aerial Ace, and Aerial Ace will of course be enough damage to get the KO up against the Vigoroth, and I'm able to take that game. But of course, if we just banked a Leaf Blade on the Surfetched, then none of that would have been a problem at all, because I could have just thrown the Charge Move, one CMP, and won the game. But anyways, we lead into a Charge Bug, and this is probably a mistake, just going straight for the Brave Bird. And yep, it's definitely a mistake. And at this point, even if they go for an X as a resisted damage, it still takes out the Surfetched, as we were triple debuffed in our defense. Now here, this is really awkward. I tried to come in with the Pidgeotto, and it doesn't work. We lag a bit there. It forced me to come in with the Fearow, and because of that, I have to swap out of that matchup, come in with the Pidgeotto, and now because we're slightly behind on energy, we end up losing CMP, and honestly, that was just so bad there, because we could have easily got to the Aerial Ace first, and then we would have put them into range where we could have just farmed them down, but now unfortunately we have to throw 2 Charge Moves to get the KO, and then they come in with a Azumarill as well. So I mean, not a lot we could have done up against this team in all honesty. They still got a very healthy Charge Bug in the back, but we full send the Return, dealing about 50% of the Azumarill's health, which isn't to be laughed at. We're now going to go for an Aerial Ace, hoping to grab a shield here, but if the opponent is smart, they're just going to save their shield for the Charge Bug, and it will be game over. So at this point, I'm definitely not going to bother shielding. Going to try and go for a Steel Wing farm down, but we're nowhere near. The opponent can fire off another Charge Move, play rough, takes out the Fearow, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we're going to see a Carbink in the lead, so pretty good lead matchup for us. Of course, Moonblast would be enough damage to get the KO, but Leaf Blade going to hit for super effective damage, and we are resisting the rock moves. Wow, I'm really good at talking today. The opponent makes a very nice catch though, catching the Leaf Blade onto Lurantis, so I'm going to stay in here. I was expecting it to be Fury Cutter, but it ends up being Leafage as the fast move, so what we're going to do is make a catch onto our Pidgeotto. Leaf Blade, of course, resisted damage, then we get some more lag here, not really sure what's going on, but I'm able to get the wing attack farm down anyway, so not going to complain. And at this point, I'm actually not sure what their third Pokemon could be, so I'm actually going to shield this up here. Then I'm going to full send a return. I'm going to overfarm though, because of course, they're not already at back-to-back rock slides. So we go for the return, getting the KO, and they've got a Talonflame in the back. And suddenly, this is looking a little bit scary for us. We're going to go for the Aerial Ace, hoping to grab a shield. Aerial Ace does grab that shield, and now we're going to swap into Fearow. Fearow should be able to live a charge move, unless they full send a Brave Bird here. And the opponent is just going to go for a fly. We barely hang on. We make it to an Aerial Ace. I need to grab that shield from the opponent. Aerial Ace is actually going to be no shielded by the opponent, and that makes it a lot harder for us. We are now going to come in with the Pidgeotto, get off 2 more wing attacks, and hopefully put them into counter farm down range, and unfortunately not able to do so. They're at back-to-back charge moves, but they're at 1 HP, so I'm just going to fire off a charge move. Doesn't matter what I throw. If the opponent uses a shield, it would KO through the shield. The opponent recognizes that, so they actually just don't throw a move at all, and they don't even bother shielding. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we're going to see a Chargebug in the lead once again. So last time, I went straight for the Brave Bird. I think this time, I'm probably going to wise up and go for a bait. We're going to shield this, and the opponent baits themselves, going for the X-Scissor. We're now going to throw as we make it to back-to-back Leaf Blades. The first one here is going to grab a shield from the opponent, and now at this point, we're just going to throw on the CMP tie, going for another Leaf Blade. We didn't even build to the Brave Bird, but we actually grabbed both shields from the opponent. So at this point, I'm actually not going to shield my Surfetched here. They go for an X-Scissor bait once again, so this means they will just barely outpace me to a discharge. I'm definitely going to shield this up here, but now I can overfarm just a little bit in this matchup. Hopefully, we have put them into Aerial Ace range. So let's say we go for the Aerial Ace, and it does get the KO. The opponents think about what to do. They then come in with a Clodsire, so of course, probably going to be running Stone Edge for coverage. I tried to throw on the CMP tie, going for the return. Return does big damage to the very bulky Clodsire, and the opponent actually going to overfarm massively here. So now I can fire off an Aerial Ace as well. An Aerial Ace hopefully will put them into farm down range, but I believe they have farmed to 100 energy or thereabouts. So Stone Edge will get the KO. They need at least 2 Mud Shots to make it to another Stone Edge, even if they are 100 energy. So I'm able to swap, make the catch at the exact same time, go for a full farm down. No, actually not able to do so there. Doesn't really matter, as the opponent's got a Gallade in the back, and we can go for an Aerial Ace, and that actually doesn't get the KO there, which is quite surprising considering how glassy Gallade is, but it doesn't matter. We can still wing, farm down the Clodsire, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see an Altaria in the lead, so not great. Gonna say swap into my Fearow, and the opponent stays in for ages, banking a ton of energy before swapping into a Dugong. Now, with such a significant energy advantage, despite of course Drill Run not hitting for super effective damage, I'm hoping I can at least grab a shield advantage here, and we do grab that shield, so that's great for us. The opponent does get the farm down. At this point, they're going to make it to 2 charge moves up against my Surfetched, so I think I'm going to no shield one of them, but I will have to shield the second one, so I'm going to let the first one go through here as they go for the Icy Wind, debuffing my attack, and what that is hopefully going to do is allow me to get an extra few counters to get more energy up against the Altaria, because of course they've already got Nearest Sky Attack loaded. So we swap into our Pidgeotto, and the opponent is finally going to fire off a charge move. I'm going to shield this up just to play it safe. They go for a Sky Attack, and they've got Empoleon in the back, so honestly not a lot we could have done up against this team. I'm full sending the return just for the sake of it. It does over half their health, even resisted, but nothing we could do there unfortunately. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next, we see Dugong in the lead this time around, so much better for us, and the opponent is choosing to stay in. So they're going to try and catch a move there. They're not able to do so. I'm going to go straight for a Brave Bird here. Honestly, I probably should just swap out straight away, but that's fine. We grab a shield there. Could have saved a lot of that energy on my Surfetched, but that's okay. We're going to let a Frenzy Plant go through. I'm not going to overfarm here, and I'm still going to let the next charge move go through as well. I wasn't sure if an Aerial Ace would get the KO from this range. It probably doesn't, so we just overfarm even more. Going to go for the Aerial Ace now, and it does get the KO, but we're not going to make it to a return up against the Dugong, unfortunately. but that's okay, just going to go straight for the Aerial Ace there. Wasn't sure if I would live one Ice Shard, and it turns out we would have lived it, so doesn't make too much of a difference there, but that's okay. Definitely going to shield in this matchup, and the opponent goes for an Icy Wind. We are now going to overfarm in this matchup, go for a Leaf Blade just before they make it to the next charge move. Leaf Blade gets the KO, and they've got Lantern in the back, so we're going to clear the debuff, come in with the Fearow, and of course, we are running Drill Run for super effective coverage here. Gonna shield up the Thunderbolt. Honestly, I think they could have just gone for Surf there, but that's okay. Drill Run is going to come through, hit for super effective damage, dealing big damage to the Lantern, and if they go for a full farm down, I'm actually going to make it to Drill Run number 2, and of course, Drill Run gets the KO up against the Lantern, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there, into next game, great lead for us as we see a Shadow Magnezone. The opponent going to stay in initially, then swap into Altaria. I'm just going to full send the Brave Bird here as I don't have a great response to Altaria. The opponent lets that go through, it does big damage, and then we swap into our Fearow. Now unfortunately, I'm not certain if we would live a Moonblast here, so I'm going to shield, then full send the Moonblast there. Yeah, honestly, we might have just barely lived that, probably should have no-shielded that, but I'm not certain, so I just play it safe there. I'm hoping the opponent doesn't know about the Drill Run coverage here. This would easily one-shot them, but the opponent does respect the damage. We do at least make it to a second Drill Run, but they're going to get a huge farm down, and I've only got one shield remaining, so this honestly is not a great position for us to be in. So I'm actually going to come in with my Pidgeotto, just fully sacrifice it. Hopefully they will just go and full send a Wild Charge, but they actually go for Mirror Shot there, so instead we come in with a Surf Edge. And then I'm just going to no-shield. I don't know why I no-shielded that. That makes no sense. I thought, well, given that they're running Magnezone in the back, they probably got something in the back that's going to do well up against the Surf Edge. So we're now going to go for an Aerial Ace, but Aerial Ace is, of course, double resisted. It doesn't quite get the KO, and they had a Whiscash in the back. So if we just preserve the Surf Edge, Leaf Blade is enough damage to pretty much one-shot a Whiscash, but Return doesn't quite do enough damage there. They're able to make it to a charge move, and whatever they throw here will be enough damage to get the KO. They're actually running Blizzard, so massive overkill there, but they're able to take out the Pidgeotto, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see Cresselia in the lead, so going to stay swap into my Fearow, going straight for an Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace not going to do too much damage, and I'm actually going to shield this up just because they might be running Future Sight. The opponent going to go for Moonblast, and that probably means they're not running Future Sight, as Grass Knot is pretty common in the Great League. We're now going to overfarm massively, and they actually come in with a Licky Tongue, so that's fine. Of course, going to be double resisting the Lick damage. I can definitely no shield this. Body Slam going to do quite a lot of damage though, but what it will allow me to do is massively overfarm, and then swap out when the Switch Clock comes back up. I'm just going to no-shield, they're only making it to one charge move. The opponent does correctly go for the power as it does hit slightly harder than a Stab Body Slam, but that's okay. What I should be doing here is just going for the back-to-back Leaf Blades, but instead I go for the Kill Shot, I go for the Brave Bird, full sending it, and Brave Bird is shielded. And now because we triple debuff our defense, I'm definitely not making it to another charge move, so I definitely think that is a mistake. We've got energy on the Fearow, but they're not in range where either charge move would get a KO. So we actually come in with the Pidgeotto, and I will admit I did not mean to shield there, I just accidentally tapped on it, but that's okay. We're going to see the opponent going to go for a Scald. We lose CMP. Scald doesn't get the debuff to our attack, which is very nice, as Return is now going to do big damage in this matchup. Now here I'm not going to be able to make it to a charge move before they make it to a Scald again, and then we would of course lose CMP once again, or at least I think so. So we end up banking a little bit of energy, just one away from the next charge move, but unfortunately we're so low on the Fearow that they will be able to go for a full Psycho Cut farm down, coming out with a charge move loaded, and they were in Aerial Ace range, but unfortunately we swapped one before we got there, so Moonblast easily takes out the Pidgeotto, and we do end up losing that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see Azumarill in the lead, so pretty good lead matchup for us once again. Of course, Leaf Blade going to do a lot of damage to this Azu, and the bubble damage is adding up slightly over time, but not an awful lot. We're definitely going to shield this up here, and we will win the one shield scenario, especially up against a play rough Azu. So once again, going to farm to over back-to-back Leaf Blades, throwing just before they make it to play rough number 2, and we get the KO. Now they come in with Bastiodon, which is a very strange decision. Honestly, no idea why they're coming in with the Basti. Both we go for a Leaf Blade, grabbing a shield, which is huge because Surf is very low. They can tank a Leaf Blade fairly comfortably. They double shield, which is very nice. So at this point, I get a bit ahead of myself here because I come in with my Fearow. Of course, if the opponent just swaps out here and gets rid of the Fearow somehow, then my Pidgeotto can do literally nothing up against the Bastiodon. But luckily for me, the opponent doesn't know about the dual run coverage from Fearow, and at this point, they just give up the game here, which is a bit annoying, but that's okay. I did just go for a full Steel Wing farm down in the end, but I'm definitely just going to cut that out there. But into the next game, another Bastiodon in the lead. The opponent going to say swap into a Shadow Victory Bell, this time running Magical Leaf, and that's fine with me. I'm going to go for a Aerial Ace just before they make it to the Sludge Bomb, and we get the KO. Now, unfortunately, this is going to give a huge farm down for the Bastiodon. I will go for a return here, but that's not going to do an awful lot of damage. Honestly, I probably shouldn't throw at all because what throwing the Charge Move does there is it allows the opponent to eventually swap out of this matchup. You can see when they do throw a Charge Move here, they're pretty much going to be able to swap as soon as the Charge Move is up there. And if we didn't throw that, I could have just gone for a full counter farm down. But in the end, it doesn't matter. They've got Trevenant in the back. We full send the Brave Bird, grabbing the first shield, and then we can completely will them with the Fearow. Gonna no shield the first Charge Move here. The opponent is going to go for the Shadow Ball, which is double resisted. Of course, Seed Bomb only single resisted, but Shadow Ball obviously still a much better Charge Move to throw. We're going to go for the Aerial Ace, grabbing a shield, and then winning CMP with the second Aerial Ace. At this point, this is certainly game over. We undercharge it. I was hoping that wouldn't quite get the KO, but it doesn't matter. We can still make it to a draw run, pretty unnecessary at this point, but draw run, going to hit full double, super effective damage, takes out the Bastiodon from her 2 HP, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see a Shadow Gallade in the lead. So of course, not great. Gonna say swap into my Fearow, and the opponent responds with Lantern. So once again, not ideal, but this is kind of what we're aiming for with the Fearow say swap. I will be able to make it to 2 draw runs if the opponent does go for a full Spark farm down. So the opponent does throw their energy. So very good timing from the opponent actually. They go for a Surf, getting the KO. And at this point, I'm going to come in with my Surfetched. I'm not certain if I will shield in this matchup here. So let's see. I'm going to no shield here. They go for Thunderbolt. That nearly gets the KO. And we're going to see the opponent's going to come in with a Skarmory. And this is certainly game over. We go for the double resisted Leaf Blade. They're still going to shield anyways, but doesn't matter. Pidgeotto can do nothing up against the Skarmory. So we're just going to concede the match there. GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we're going to see a Shadow Quagsire in the lead. So, of course, Leaf Blade going to be able to one-shot the Shadow Quagsire, but Aquatail does some decent damage here. They're going to say swap into a Charger Bug here, so we're full sending the Brave Bird, and luckily for me it does connect, because honestly if they shielded that up, I'm not really sure what we can do up against a Charge Bug with my back line. But now we put them into Wing Attack farm down range. They come back in with the Shadow Quagsire, and honestly this is so unnecessary. They're not going to shield, they are going to shield, so we go for the return there. It ends up getting shielded. I think I'm actually going to shield this. They go for a bait with the Aquatail, which is really unfortunate. We're now going to go for another Charge Move, and it looks like we win CMP here, which is very strange because we did also lose CMP up against a Whiscash, so I'm not really sure how that works out, but Stone Edge will be taking us out there. Now we're going to come in with the Fearow, and they should be 6 away from the next Charge Move, so I'm going to swap, make the catch onto my Surfetched. Is this another Stone Edge? It is the Stone Edge. We catch it perfectly. They then come in with Annihilate, and they're just a little bit too slow to swap out there, as I'm able to make it to back-to-back Aerial Aces. The first one does big damage, not quite enough to get the KO, so I'm just going to play it safe, go for the second Aerial Ace, and I don't think they will be able to make it to another Stone Edge, but they do fire for Charge Move. If this is a Stone Edge, this will easily get the KO, but Aquatail, we barely hang on. I'm able to get the resisted Steel Wing farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, another Mantine in the lead. So going to say swap into my Fearow once again, and the opponent's just going to fire off an Aerial Ace straight away. So this is fine with me. We can tank it. It's not super comfortable considering that's only an Aerial Ace, not the best charge we've ever. But we're now going to fire off our own Aerial Ace. We did farm up quite a lot, and we actually end up grabbing a shield. So at this point, I'm definitely just going to let this go through here. Aerial Ace will be taking us out. We're now going to wait out the switch lock here, as we are switch locked whilst the opponent can just swap out anytime they want to, but they end up swapping into a Shadow Machamp, which is a very odd decision here. But let's see, we go for the Aerial Ace, getting the KO, and now they've got Cresselia in the back, so honestly just fully sacrificing that Machamp there, which I guess it makes sense here. Not going to do too much up against my team, but here we are going to be able to land the return. I'm now going to shield this up. The opponent going to bait with a grass knot, which is very unfortunate, but I'm able to win CMP with an aerial ace. At this point, they've already seen the return. They end up shielding that, and at this point, I'm going to no shield. The opponent goes for the grass knot. We actually lived that. Maybe I should have stayed in, but the opponent swaps out straight away into their Mantine anyways, and I'm hoping I can outpace them to a Brave Bird. We need the Brave Bird to get the KO, but they do make it to a second aerial ace, and aerial ace gets the KO up against the Surfetch. They can just wing attack, farm down my Pidgeotto, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game we see Hakamoto in the lead, gonna take swap into Firo, and the opponent comes in with a Dugong. So once again, going for Drill Run, and honestly, I didn't even check before I did these battles. I don't know if Drill Run or Aerial Ace is better in terms of the energy efficiency, but I go for Drill Run each time because I think it probably does do slightly more damage anyways. So we're able to grab a shield from the Dugong, but once again, they get a huge farm down. I'm going to have to use at least one shield with my Surfetch. We do get the counter through there, although it didn't look like it, but that's fine. Gonna no shield the first charge move. They're already at back-to-back, but once again, what this will mean is that I get a huge counter farm down when if they didn't debuff my attack, honestly, I'd only get a few counters in. Now we're one away from the Brave Bird. We are double debuff, but I don't even care. We're full sending it, and Brave Bird nearly one-shots them. I could have just counter farmed them down there, but they come in with a Skeledirge, and honestly, this is quite scary for us. I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace here. Aerial Ace, not going to do too much damage. They actually no shield that, but I'm able to make it to a second Aerial Ace, which is very nice. Aerial Ace number 2 will be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and now I think they're at 100 energy, so I'm definitely going to shield this up here, hoping we can live a Disarming Voice, but the opponent over farms, allowing me to make it to a third Aerial Ace, getting the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there into possibly the final battle of this video. We lead into a Shadow Swampert. Now I can win the zero shield scenario, but it is very risky to throw a Leaf Blade straight away. So instead I go for the extra counter. I'm definitely going to shield this as a Hydro Cannon would basically one-shot us. We're now going to overfarm. We wait one turn just to make sure they don't make a catch, and I fire off the Leaf Blade, grabbing a shield, and at this point I'm just going to double shield here. I think this is the safe play. I can very easily counter, farm up all the way down, and a loaded Surfetch is still very scary, even for something like a Medicham, as a Brave Bird, if they do not respect the damage, will one-shot the Medicham. They come in with a Steelix, so I'm going to swap straight away into my Firo, since of course my Surfetch was now triple debuff to its defense. They go for Breaking Swipe, they don't get the debuff to my attack, which is very nice. I'm now going to fire for Drill Run. Do they know about the coverage of Drill Run? The opponent is going to shield anyways, but if they go for a full farm down, I will make it to a second Drill Run in time. This won't quite be enough damage to get the full KO, but we get them very low to the point where we can simultaneous KO, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.